Okay, now we've gotten through kind of a little bit of setup in Navisworks. Now we're going to work on the clash detection part. And so part of your assignment, you'll have to run a couple different clash detection options. I'm just going to kind of show you the first one, and then I'll let you guys work through that on your homework. So to do clash detection in Navisworks, you'll hit Windows and do Clash Detective. All right, that's going to bring up the menu here. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to get rid of sets that we've worked with, get rid of properties that we have. And so now we have this Clash Detective, and we have all of our different trade models put in here, our Navisworks model, so we can start working with it. So what I'm going to do is click Add Test. And so what we want to test is common one. I'm just going to do plumbing. We'll do... Actually, let's just do HVAC versus plumbing. That's the one that I'm going to select. And so I'm put HVAC versus plumbing. Okay, so we have a couple sets that we can, or a name that we can have. The way you kind of want to set it up, and it depends on who you're working with, is Section A. I'm going to put that as the HVAC portion, and Section B, I'm going to assume that's the plumbing. So now we have those sets. What we can do is we can go in and we can look at, I'm going to select HVAC. I can look at level 1, and here it has all my families that are associated in Revit that we've exported out from our Revit file. And I'm okay. I'm just going to hit the whole Navisworks model here. Same thing over on this side. I can do plumbing, and I can do centerline. Look, I don't know why the centerline's on there. Doesn't matter. We have the pipes, plumbing fixtures, so we could break it down in the further detail. But I'm just going to do a simple plumbing versus HVAC clash here. That's set. And so what this is going to do in the spatial type model is it's looking for objects that are going to be hitting one another. So that's really all it's doing. All these objects have been assigned through families of what they are, and then the software goes through and basically says, oh, hey, you're hitting one another. And you need to determine if it's a legit clash or if it's not, and then what you're going to do about it too. So I'm going to hit Run Test here. And what's happened here is, I'm going to open this display setting up. We've had a couple clashes that have come in here. And so I have one ductwork clash here. To me, that's a pipe that's going down. Looks like a vent pipe, waste pipe that's coming up. And it runs into a section there. Okay, so you can see we got something going on over here. I've overclicked this display setting so you can kind of play around with. What it does on your clashes two clashes here, we can navigate through it. I can name this one here too if I wanted to. But highlighting, I can unclick the items, okay, and notice that we have, this is a supply duct, okay, so our color that we selected came through. Now this vent piping, that's item 2, it's green. We did not assign that a color, so we don't know exactly what's going on with that as well. The other one, you can say, I could do highlight all clashes. I'm not going to do that. We could also do dim or not. So we can, if we undo this, then sometimes it's hard to see where that clash is at, unless we item or hit our item. So you really want to play around. It's going through a wall here too. That's kind of set. So dim other, you can see that wireframe. You can hide other. It's pretty much floating. It's hard to have some relevance there. I usually like dim, that way I can kind of see what's going on how that works. Let's look at the second clash. All right, so the second clash, it's the same, looks like it's the same one. Okay, but what we've clashed here is the pipes clashing, or the ductworks clashing with the pipe. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what it's doing is it's saying there's two clashes here. So if I was to go in, we have a clash here that's set and a clash here that's set as well. So what we could do is actually group these classes together. I'll hit new group and I'll say vent, or I'll say duct, supply air duct dash vent. And I should be able to drag this into that group. There we go. So now I have my classes grouped together. And what that's done is changed from one clash down, or from two clashes down to one. And so what I would do is hop back into my model. I would fix one of the two pipings and to eliminate that clash. Let's see if I can open up that Revit file so we could see how that would operate. All right, so from there you just have your different clashes that you detect, and you would get back into your model, and then we could fix our clash and then reload this back in and then run them. Here we can add more tests, so I'll do another test here. You could run everything. So I'm just going to run structural versus HVAC. So I'll do struct. And I'll be sure I highlight my structural model first and my HVAC, run test. And congratulations, we have 0 clashes that have occurred through there. One thing that we might want to look at is structural versus all MEP. So I'll say add test. I'll do structural. And then I'll select, oops, let me change that, what that's going to be. Okay. So struct MEP. I'll run the test. And you're going to find that we have 6 clashes between the structure versus the MEP items. And sometimes, here's one that we have that's set here. So this is going through a foundation wall. And that's okay. You can provide a sleeve. You could cut a sleeve that's going through here. So it's a very common clash that you would see. On that clash here, we could say activate, we could resolve it, we could approve it, we could also assign a task to it. It's like assign to. See if I can add somebody in here. Assign to, I'll say plumber. Provide sleeve through wall. Hit OK. So now I have that assigned there. You could probably go ahead and approve this clash, new status, activated, approved. So it would be as simple as that. You wouldn't really have to change much around on that. So I notice the clash becomes green. So we see another clash here. So what's going on with this clash is that you have a pipe that's coming through the floor, the structural floor. So that's pretty common. You could say approved there. Really, you could assign it to the plumber again. Rough in before slab. And OK. And you can see we're starting to really get through all these items here. So here's another pipe that's coming through as well. We could almost take that and create another group as well and say slab penetrations through plumbing and group them all as one. I'm afraid that's where most of our clashes are going to be. Okay. All right, so that's kind of how you get through some of those. Let's look back at this model. Let me open this up. Okay. So here's that clash that we found here where everything's moving over, or where that pipe is having an issue. So what we'd want to do is probably look at our plumbing plans. Okay. And we'd want to make that change in here. It might be easier to actually, let me look at the HVAC. So we have the HVAC in here. Do we want to move it? Do we not want to move it? Could do something like this. So now I'm avoiding that pipe. I may be hitting another one, but hope not. So we avoid that clash there. There's not a lot of pressure drop that's associated with it. And so now we could export that out. We'll go back. We could go back to our model here. We have everything fixed. And we'll go through the process, and as we would admin that back in or replace it back in there, then it would fix that particular clash that's there. So that's kind of a little bit of the workflow on how it operates. Oops. Okay. All right, so that kind of gives you an overview of clashes. I want you to take a look at your homework, and there'll be some clashes that I want you to identify using this here. And so fill that out and submit what's required here for the Navisworks grading. So hopefully this gives you an overview of how Navisworks operates, how you can do a little bit of settings in there, how you can run different clashes that you have built through it. And again, the overall goal of Navisworks on how to use it and modify is to use this tool in pre-con. That way you can identify before you start building ductwork or getting out to the field, you already have a nice set of prints or as-built, not really as-built, or installation drawings that are set. That way you can go out there and put this thing up as fast as you can without having a bunch of meetings out in the field or waiting for responses from RFIs from engineers or architects. So, thank you.